You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
This is an episode on Excuse Me of the Tear. This is a friend of mine, Jamie Maddox. I'm going to let Jamie introduce himself and where he's at, what's going on in his life today.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jamie Maddox, as James said here, and he reached out to me a few weeks ago, and it's made a real big impact on my life because I was kind of felt lost and going nowhere, and I'm just doing the same old thing over and over and over again. And we have a history, a good and bad and ugly history that for somehow, some way, after all these years, has come to fruition right here, right now. And even though I look like I do at the moment, there's a reason behind it, and we'll get to that soon. But I'm trying to change my life, and it's because this man reached out to me, and because I want to change, and it's just all coming together in a time when it's just good for everyone. So I'm in Salinas Valley State Prison. I've been here for 6 months, 6 months out of the hole for stabbing a couple guys who kept jumping on me, and I made a vow to not do that anymore. To even if I had to get an ass kicking like I just did, I will not pick up knives anymore. And that's, it wasn't an easy choice, but it was one that I made, and I'm not going back to the hole anymore, and I'm going to do better. And whatever that may be, it's going to be all positive. And we're here to just talk about life and feelings and all that good stuff, and hope that we can help someone else in the future not get to this point where I am. But steer clear of all the bad before it gets to you, because it does get to all of us in here.
Well, so interesting enough, like, so when we talked, and and I reached out to you, because I seen some videos on YouTube, and I became concerned because there was a story. It just didn't seem right, but and I've wanted to reach out to you. I've thought about you several times over the years, and just how we came to know each other, where we're at, like what change looks like. Can you kind of maybe?
A rundown of how we met and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe it was Lancaster in 2000. They flipped a 3 to a 4 yard. And a buddy of mine and my cellmate for like a couple of years, we signed on to open that place up, and we met James. Micah and I met James, and we had like a little circle of us guys who were all in for murder, and we kind of all just had a lot in common. We all had a lot in common, and we never thought of being good. Our lives were all about trying to prove ourselves and show everybody how bad we were, and
everything was definitely flipped.
Yes, there was at the time to know this. There was no rehabilitation. When you went into prison for a murder, you never got out. Period. And I lived my life as such, and I know James lived his life as such. All of us lived our lives like that at that time. And it was just a really crazy. And we were all young. We were in our 20s, and young and no direction. But we really thought we knew everything we were doing at that time. And if I may go into it a little bit. I know that we had this bond, like maybe 6 or 7 of us, and prison politics got in the way of a few things, and we happened to meet up on another yard where I had made some bad calls as a shot caller, and James had to end up being the one to do something because no one else would. And I know society won't understand this, but he gave me love at the time because, can I say it?
Sure.
Okay, so at the time he gave me love because any other person would have just cut my throat off. And he flipped that razor backwards and gave me that type. And I know it doesn't make sense to most, but I never felt any animosity. I felt nothing but love towards, because I saw what this man did to some bad people, and I know what he's capable of at that time. So, flash to, I think we saw each other on a bus where he testified for the 2 youngsters who had like a couple years to go. They were trying to give one of them 25 to life, because as that happened, I jumped up to go after James, and 2 other kids got on me. right? Is that how? I know it's been a long time, so my brain's kind of. So they charged those youngsters with battery on inmate with weapon. James didn't even get caught, but he stood up and said, "Hey, I did it. I'm going to go to court and say I did it." And I went to court to say that the kid didn't do it, but the kid took some kind of weird trial by judge where they didn't believe any of us, and they still gave him 12 years, right? So that's the last time I've seen this man on a jail bus going back to prison after we testified for this kid. And we had a little bit of talks, but I think that he felt more remorse than I felt animosity towards him. I had none. We actually hugged while we were shackled up, and it all through these years, it's not like it was on my life. Like, how could you? My mind was like, that man showed me more love than anybody has. And I know it's a crazy way of thinking, but it's the God's honest truth. So Flashton, here we are, and he is trying to help people. And I don't know what I can do much about helping because I haven't been the best inmate since. But I'm sure I'm trying to make a change.
That certainly makes you relevant because I don't know, Jamie. No, I say it all the time. No matter where you're at, you're always going to be faced with choices and consequences, and
true.
And our personality types, the way we take things. Sometimes I'm like super sensitive to. I'm probably more sensitive than a lot of people realize. You know.
I think I'm on the same level with you, though.
Yeah. So like, cause you know, I don't know. So like, what type of emotions? Because the thing I want to kind of talk to you about, maybe even offer as a go-gi coach or somebody that has trudged the path of insanity, right? Like CJ Step 2, is Jamie. Like you're perfectly fine just the way you are. I think in my life a lot of times I get caught up in, I start thinking for other people. Right, I start thinking for other people, and I maybe act like a robot. After that, I'm pretty predictable, if you know. The thing is a lot of people, they'll second guess that. They'll like hesitate, right?
Right. Yeah.
And in that hesitation, I think the truth of the matter is I was so scared that I was willing to get after it. I always felt like if I got after it first, I got an advantage.
Right. I'm totally was on the same way of thinking.
But there have been times in my life where even that, and where I stabbed my cellie, brutally stabbed my cellie, and then he turned around and gave it to me until we got sprayed out.
Right. And I've been there on stabbings where I thought I had the advantage, and I'm just stabbing the shit out of the guy, and he's fucking me up. So, and I'm thinking, damn, where did I go wrong here? Like, it's not always just cut and dry. Like you think you're going to stab somebody and it's all going to be all good. Because, sadly, with no pride, I can tell you I have 7 stabbings in here, and I'm not proud of any one of them. Not one. If I could go back and do it over again, I wouldn't stab anybody. I mean that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But when you're young and you're trying to prove yourself, and you're like, I'm doing this, and they don't go like you would think. That the victim just, takes it. This guy jumped up and told me, you done fucked up now, and started fucking me up. And this was in like my last active yard, which was 2009. And it was a hell of a shock for me. I'm sure with you when you were with your cellie, like you didn't expect him to start beating you up when you're the one with the knife, right? It's not like the movie. It's not. Reality is a motherfucker. And it just doesn't go like the movie show, or people might say, like, these stories that you've been telling me here on YouTube, not all of it's real, not all of it's real. And that's one thing that I really want to dispel, is some of these things that are out there in the world about me that are completely untrue. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here right now because you've shown me by being in the free world for 4 years today, congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
That it can be done. It really can be done. And it made a profound impact when you told me that everyone in our circle is out in the free world except me. That made me feel like I've been doing something wrong for a long time. And, from that day, I stopped doing that Suboxone at the prison let me be on for the last 5 years, and that was something. Something to be proud of.
How do you feel physically and everything over that? And then, you just decided you're going to go sober,
Yeah.
then the conflict, and then
Okay, so right now I may not look good, but I feel great. Um, Suboxone was a dark cloud hanging over my head for about 5 years. They started giving it to us to come down off of heroin, and really it might have helped at first, but I came to find that it was just another addiction. It was just something else that I had to get up and have every day, and I could not be. I've been trying to kick it for 2 years now. I made it 7 days, I made it 9 days, I made it 7 days, and I've never made it until I talked to you, and until a friend of mine reached out whose girl said, "You're not truly sober unless you're off Suboxone." So I just quit cold turkey. She tried to suggest, wean down on. I've done that before, and sadly, the prison doesn't want to take you off. I asked to be removed from it 6 months ago when I got here, and it said our visit will win in a minute, so I'll just call back in a minute when it cuts off, okay?
All right,
so with that being said, it took 11 days. I was deathly sick. I had to push through it, and on the 12th day, it just, I felt like 30 years old all over again. I'm 51 now, so then I had this little incident, but I still feel great. I do. I know I look like shit, but I feel good. And you will see, world, in 2, 3, 4 weeks that I'll be back to normal.
That's
but
right.
I'm doing it right now so you can see this, because there's a reason for this. This is because I wouldn't pick up a knife again. And I know it sounds as crazy as me thinking knowing James gave me love with the back of that blade. And it's all I have is my truth. And I'm hoping to just make a change in someone's life, and maybe even my own life, by telling my story. I'll call you back.
All right, bro.
Excuse me on a tear, brand new reentry is here. 30 long years, long in the tooth, history unwind. And just like a labyrinth by design, Coach James, my time. Second in line, never first, oftentimes defined as the worst of the worst. Blessed or cursed, change is gradual, very slow reentry. Who would have known? History has shown just how I have grown. There is no place like home. Lonely on the throne, are you down? Thank you on the tip. Brand new is here. Thank you on the tip.